future is now.
Hi everyone! This week I want to talk about the difference between entitlement and expectations. You know, it's funny when we talk about generations in the workplace, and quite often specifically millennials or Gen Zs get labeled as entitled. It's like this thing that this judgment we have around millennials and Gen Z saying, well, they're entitled, they want to be promoted too soon, or they think that they should get perks right away, or whatever. I've heard it all, to be honest, ever since I published my generation's book, 101 Ways to Make Generations X, Y, and Zoomers Happy at Work, way back in 2010, before it was such a talked about topic that it's been for the last few years. But really, there is a difference between entitled and expectation, and I really want to provoke some thought here with this. So, for example, entitled would be, I deserve this because. So every one of us, regardless of age, has behaved entitled at some shape or form or at some time in our life. I know for me, I've behaved entitled over time I've spent in my career. It's kind of like entitled, I usually get this, for example, would be an entitled thought. But the difference between entitled and expectation is there is an expectation that's shaped on things that have happened. So, for example, millennials have an expectation to do work that they love. Where did that expectation come from? Well, actually, it was their parents who said, do something you love. And many millennials saw their parents, the Gen Xers and the Zoomers, come home and be unhappy and complain about their work. And so therefore, it was really anchored into a millennial's mindset that, gosh, I'm only going to do stuff I love. So if that millennial shows up in the workplace and says, I want to do things that are in line with my passion, a Zoomer or Gen X could see that as, well, you're feeling entitled because you don't want to do what the job description is. That might be an example. When in fact, what we're seeing is the job description itself is an expectation that was created by Zoomers and Gen X as part of the function of the workplace. What we're seeing is job descriptions can be very non-motivating. They're task lists, whereas we see in the future is not about jobs, it's about work. And therefore, millennials and Gen Zs are saying, give me work that inspires me, give me work that engages me, give me work that challenges me, and I will respond to that. So that's one example of entitled versus expectation. Same thing would go with wanting a promotion too soon. A lot of times when millennials and Gen Zs are hired, some organizations are very good at the onboarding, where they say, here's the career pathing possible here in our workplace. Dashboards, visuals, showing them here they are now and here's where they can be in 3 months, 6 months, 9 months, a year. When those expectations are laid out, we see less of an entitled attitude with the workers. And again, this can go across the board with any generation. So really what we want to do is we want to really discern whether we're judging someone as being entitled when in fact was an expectation communicated? Were we clear about expectations? Are the expectations that we communicated being matched with the reality of the work and the plan and where this person's career is going? It leads us to really ask those questions, because otherwise we'll just judge and make the problem and push the problem onto the person of any generation, saying, well, they're just being entitled. When in fact, the question we need to ask ourselves as leaders is, did we set this as an expectation? Did we communicate career pathing in our expectations? And that's the key to one of the ways to really adapting to the changes we're seeing in demographics, is to really discern between a judgment and between an expectation, a judgment of entitlement and an expectation that may or may not have been communicated. I'd love to hear your comments about this, whether you feel that your organization has not done a great job of setting expectation. And that's what's causing this mismatch with some of these entitlement comments that are going around within the workplace. Something to think about. Thank you.